morning. I'd like to call the Mendocino LAFCO meeting of July 1st to order and invite roll call.
Good morning. Commissioner Ward.
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Present.
Commissioner Horsley. Commissioner McGuirty. Commissioner Kristen. Commissioner Roden.
Yes, here.
And Chair Mulhern.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to move on to item number 2, public expression. The Commission welcomes participation in the LAFCO meeting. Any person may address the Commission on any subject matter within the jurisdiction of LAFCO, which is not on the agenda. There is a 3-minute limit and no action will be taken at this meeting. Are there any members of the public online that wish to comment? You can use the raise hand feature or press *9. I think these are all team members that I'm seeing. We have no public in the room. I think we can go ahead and move on to item number 3. There is no items for other business. And item number 4, the consent calendar. The following consent items are expected to be routine and non-controversial and will be acted on by the Commission in a single action without discussion, unless a request is made by a commissioner or a member of the public for discussion or separate action. We have item number 4A, June 3rd, 2024 regular meeting summary. Item 4B, June 2024 claims and financial report. And item 4C, certificate of appreciation for Commissioner Cole. Are there any commissioners that have questions or comments on these items? Commissioner Ward?
Nope.
Okay,
I move to approve.
thank you.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. There are no members of the public in the room or online. So with that, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Roden,
Yes.
Commissioner Kristen. I'm sorry, I didn't hear in the chambers. Commissioner Kristen.
Yes. Can you hear
Thank
me?
you, and Chair Moore.
Yes, thank you.
Motion
Okay.
passes. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we are on to item 5A. This is a public hearing to consider adoption of the Mendocino County Waterworks District Number 2 Municipal Service Review and Sphere of Influence Update Study as required by LAFCO law. The final report includes written determinations on the level and scope of services provided by the Mendocino County Water Districts Number 2 with the attached recommended actions. And I'm not sure who from the team is going to take this presentation. Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can.
I'm going to share my screen for a moment. Oh. Sorry, adjusting. Okay, thank you. So this is the public hearing for the Mendocino County Waterworks District Number 2, which is also known as the Anchor Bay area. This is, we originally had a workshop on this in March, earlier this year. The district was initially formed in April of 1958, and it was originally governed by the County Board of Supervisors. In 1996, an elected board was established and now all powers were conveyed to the board. The boundary encompasses approximately 103 parcels, and they serve approximately 100 customers. They are a single service provider providing wastewater collection and treatment services. They're located approximately 3 miles north of Gualala. The district currently has a contract for management and administration services with Gualala CSD. They do have one part-time operator, which is managed by Gualala CSD, and the board members volunteer a significant amount of time towards the operations. The operations system consists of a collection system and a wastewater treatment plant. The wastewater treatment plant has a capacity of 0.024 million gallons a day. They have 2 disposal systems. There's an outfall to the Pacific Ocean, and then they also irrigate just over 3 acres of forest land with their treated effluent. So the commission held a workshop on March 4th of this year where comments and revisions on the study were provided to staff. The revisions from the March workshop are listed in your staff report. That's on page 19 of your agenda packet. Today is a public hearing to consider public testimony and proposed adoption of this study. The study starts on page 21 of your agenda packet. The MSR determinations are on page 71, and the sphere determinations are on page 79. Staff is recommending that the commission affirm a coterminous sphere for the district, which means the same as the jurisdictional boundaries, finding that there is adequate wastewater services for the current service area. The district provides no outside agency services within the currently or within the planning horizon. The hearing today was properly noticed with a 21-day public hearing notice that was distributed by June 7th. No public comments have been received to date. We have prepared a notice of exemption for the commission's consideration, which is on page 105 of your agenda packet. And I want to acknowledge that the board president and the Gualala CSD General Manager Chris Troyon, who is also the contract general manager for Anchor Bay, have been very forthcoming with information and assisted greatly with preparation of the study. So finally, the recommendations are to find the MSR as categorically exempt and find that the sphere update is also exempt and approve the notice of exemption for filing. I want to note that we are recommending a revision to the resolution number. Did miss that the beginning of the fiscal year was today, so the new resolution number is 2024-2501. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, and thank you for the note about the resolution number. Commissioner Ward?
Yeah, thank you. Back in March, I don't recall us talking much about the financial concerns. What did we bring up those items?
There was some discussion of the finances. The district I think it was in June, March, did adopt new rates, went through the Proposition 218 process, adopted the study, and also new rates. Those new rates are expected to facilitate their operations. They are also in the process of applying for grants to assist with their infrastructure needs. They have received some grant funding to start replacement of their Orangeburg pipe, which is pipe that was initially installed and is no longer serviceable.
I just find it interesting that these MSRs we've been doing lately, that all of a sudden the board will do what they're supposed to be doing. And for the last 5 years, they've been losing money, but all of a sudden it's MSR time and we have a conversation with the board or the general manager and, oh yeah, we need some rate adjustments and stuff like that. This has been going on for a long, long time. You look at their financials. One of the issues that I think is this is a great opportunity for a consolidation with Gualala. I don't see how they're going to continue. They're using reserve money to pay their bills. Just having that grant money that Gualala received, $484,000, that could have been extended if they were a consolidated group and maybe help out with the Albion one. Also, what's it going to cost to replace their whole infrastructure that needs replacing? On the balance sheet, they have like $1.4 million in equipment and other assets. I mean, if they have to replace that, they're not going to do that with a small rate adjustment that went into effect in 2024. So is there any way we can encourage or push to have this consolidation happen? Gualala's already operating it, so to speak, with their own administration. I think this is a perfect example of going forward. I know we're going to be talking later in the meeting about consolidation of water systems and stuff, and I know this isn't water, but it's very the same kind of services. So I'm just concerned about the financial statements from the auditor. Celentano even says that there's a problem with a going concern back in 2022. So anyway, I don't recall any of this coming up in March, but it definitely needs to be brought up today from my perspective. The other question is, do normally you discharge into the Pacific Ocean? I mean, I assume that's legal because somebody isn't dealing with that, but if they're going to improve their infrastructure, maybe they can improve it such that it doesn't get dumped into the ocean. That's one thing. There's lots of violations. They've got 22 violations that I would be concerned with. So anyway, those are some of the things that I brought up from a financial standpoint. But it is an MSR. I mean, I'm glad that they're doing what they're doing, but it shouldn't have taken an MSR and LAFCO to be talking about this stuff. They should have been doing this years ago.
EO Hinman, did you want to address some of that? And then I have Commissioner Christian and Commissioner Gonzalez.
Sure, thank you. The district, basically until I think 2022, did not really have a functioning board. They did not have a full board. They had board members come on in 2022 who have been very proactive in trying to bring the district up to speed and up to snuff. They've adopted a whole new policy manual and bylaws for the district. They're working very proactively with Gualala CSD to assess their infrastructure and figure out what needs to happen. And part of that was that Prop 218 study that they implemented in 2023. Both Gualala CSD and Mendocino County Waterworks District 2 are actively pursuing planning grants to study regionalization or consolidation options. So that is something that they are actively looking at. And we have included a recommendation or a determination in the MSR supporting consolidation of those
Yeah, I see that. You mentioned in the staff report that there isn't a lot of public members available to become board members, but if you expand or consolidate into the Gualala, you've got more people that could then participate on the board. So another good reason to consolidate, because I don't know how you get 5 board members from that little towny town of Anchor Bay area.
I did also want to note that the outfall into the Pacific Ocean is treated water, not raw sewage, and it is permitted through permitted through the state agencies. And the violations, I did want to note that most of them are non-reporting violations, so they are not significant from a public health and safety stance per se.
Thank you for that clarification. Commissioner Christian?
I'll just speak loudly. I just want to go on the record that I'm with Commissioner Ward that it makes a lot of sense for this district to be consolidated with Gualala. It just, I mean, I know they're not geographically contiguous, but I mean, given their relationship and everything with Gualala CSD, it just, I don't know. I don't know what we can do to foster that. Maybe that should be one of our recommendations moving forward. So I just wanted to say that. The other, I had a question about the CEQA. I don't know a whole lot about where CEQA applies. Why does it not apply in this particular situation, and also with the, I guess, the Fort Bragg situation? Perhaps
Or I see that our council, Birch, has come on.
Yeah, I can address that question. It's not that CEQA doesn't apply. It does apply, but this particular action is exempt. There are certain categories of actions that are set forth in the Public Resources Code that are exempt from further CEQA review, and this is one of them. And there's a fairly detailed explanation in the notice of exemption, but I can answer other questions in more detail if that's something you'd like right now.
So it has to do with CEQA regulation, is that,
Yes.
it exempts these kinds of MSRs to be exempt, is that?
Yes. So
Okay.
in this particular case, this is an evaluation or a study that doesn't actually make any land use changes. And when there aren't land use changes that would cause a physical effect on the environment, then it will fall into this categorical exemption. It's called a Class 6 exemption.
All right, got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yeah, real quick, again, just wanted to echo my colleagues as far as consolidation. I know that you had it covered, Uma, and I think sometimes there's not the political will when the rate studies happen. I've seen that some boards and cities and counties sometimes kick the can to the next board instead of raising rates incrementally so that it's not a big hit to customers. And so, you know, staying on top of that is important. And lastly, I think you answered the question about the discharging into the ocean, and just like cities discharge into rivers, et cetera, they're allowed under certain circumstances as long as it's treated. So, thank you.
Commissioner Roden?
Thank you. It discussed in the MSR about consolidation that they should look into that, and so you know, was discussed in the report. And I'm curious. I don't think it was a recommendation, and I wondered what was staff's thinking about that, because it was so far into the future.
So because they were in the process of doing planning studies, performing planning studies for that consolidation effort, it should be in there as a determination that consolidation should be considered. Yeah, but they are in the process of looking at that. They have both boards are talking about it internally, and pursuing planning grants to look at it from both agencies' perspectives.
And then I just saw two very minor typos. I'll just mention them now because we're gonna approve it. And one is section 2.2.3. It's on page 2-4. And the first line, it says the district appoint a budget committee, and it should be probably appointed budget committee in March. And then on page 2-14, it's the section 2.4.1.2. On the second line, the very last word is have, and I don't think that should be there. The district does not currently carry debt. And I just also wanted to say it's another really great, thorough, you know, comprehensive, well done MSR. And I think that I just want to commend staff for getting these done, and they look really good. And we're learning so much about how these little districts, I think it's really, really interesting. And so I appreciate these. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ward?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I had all sorts of questions here and I missed a few. Why is this the first MSR? They've been in business since '58. How did we miss it?
I'm not sure. the answer to that. I know that when we came on, this was not included on any of the lists of districts, and it was not in the schedule for MSRs. So we kind of discovered it after a number of questions came forward, actually from the new board president, and then we started to look into it. I think before that it was thought to be a county-dependent district, and so kind of fell off the radar somehow. So once we started getting questions from the new board president, we looked into it a little further and realized that it had not been scheduled.
We don't have any others out there, do we?
Don't believe so.
The next question is, I know we're going to be talking about water consolidation later in the meeting, but there is a private water company there. Would there be any interest, you think, by consolidating all of it? That would be the best solution, putting the water with the wastewater with Gualala, Anchor Bay, and North Gualala Water Company for the benefit of the public.
I think that's an excellent point. When I met with the general manager and the board president for Anchor Bay, we did talk about that. Because that water company is a private entity, LAFCO has no jurisdiction.
I know that.
But that has been brought up by staff at the staff level.
They could all benefit from grant monies and improvement in the infrastructure. That area is not going to grow. You're not going to get it through additional revenue from new houses or new connections. So it's just going to get worse in the future. So consolidation here, I think, is going to be the best benefit for all of them. The third question is, there's a review in there that we have to look at for policies and whatnot after three years or for the next MSR. Are you developing a tickle file or whatever to go back and look at these things? Because I noticed we've done this in the past, but there's no follow-up to see if they've actually did what they're supposed to do. And I think we need to develop some kind of a file so that we're aware that we need to look at this particular district within this period of time to see if they followed up with their policies or their infrastructures that they needed to do, or filing this, or getting a website, or whatever we asked in the determinations. So I think we need to look at that, because I know I can recall a few times we said, well, we need to go back and look at that. Sometimes these MSRs be 10 years away, and we need to look at that. And I will echo also, the MSR is very well done. I learned a lot about it, but the more you read about it, the more they need help. And but it was well done, and I think it was well documented for the first MSRs, and as well as the last you've done. You've done an excellent job.
Thank you. There are no members of the public in the room. If there are any members of the public on Zoom that wish to comment, they can use the raise hand feature or press star 9. Commissioner Rodin.
I move that we find the Mendocino County Waterworks District Number 2 municipal. Oh, do you have to close the public
Yeah,
hearing?
I was just,
Sorry
thank
about
you.
that.
No, that's
Yeah.
okay. I am not seeing any hands raised online, so I would close the public hearing at this time, and if you'd like to continue with your motion.
Well, can I move the two at the same time? Executive officer?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so I move the 2 recommended actions.
Gonzalez seconds.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roden,
Roden, yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Christen,
Yes.
and Chair Moorhearn.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And with that, I'd like to move on to item number 5B. This is a public hearing related to the Gualala Community Services District Municipal Service Review and Sphere of Influence Study. E.O. Hinman, are you also going to take this one?
Yes, thank you. We have a brief presentation. This is a public hearing for the Gualala Community Services District. We did have a workshop in our June 4th meeting, I believe it was the 4th, to receive public comment and direction from the commission. To provide an overview of the district was formed in July of 1986. They are a single service provider, providing wastewater collection and treatment. Their boundaries are approximately 1,430 acres, and they serve a population of approximately 2,100. They have approximately 416 service customers. They do have a 5-member board of directors, and they have a general manager and 2 part-time employees and 2 full-time employees. The grade 1 and grade 2 operators are both full-time, and the finance director and administrative assistant are part-time. They do provide wastewater services to zones 1 and 2. So those are the 2 zones that are located along Highway 1. Zones 3 and 4 are included in the district. They are identified for future service areas. The district currently does not have capacity in their wastewater treatment plant to provide services in this area, although they do extend services on a case-by-case basis for failing septic systems. They provide outside agency services to 2 areas, the Sea Ranch area, which is located in Sonoma County and is south of the Gualala Point Regional Park that you can see on the map. And they also provide service to the Gualala Point Regional Park. The collection system was brought online in 1992, as well as the wastewater treatment plant. They have a current capacity of 131,000 gallons per day. Their current usage is about 59% of their capacity. They have 4 storage ponds for a total of 28 million gallons. For operations, they do bring effluent from the northern part of Sea Ranch through the Sea Ranch sanitation zone under a tri-party agreement between Sonoma County, Sea Ranch Homeowners Association, and Gualala CSD. They then sell treated effluent back to the Sea Ranch golf links for irrigation on the golf course. And the amount of the percentage of the effluent that is treated through the wastewater treatment plant, 60% of that comes at this point. We do have a policy for identifying areas of interest, which are a geographic area that are located beyond the sphere of influence boundary established by the Commission, and it delineates areas for increased coordination with other agencies. So staff is recommending 2 areas of interest be included in the sphere map. That would be the proposed Zone 5, which is located to the north and is a residential area that is known to be experiencing failing septic systems. And then also the Anchor Bay area and the Highway 1 corridor up to Anchor Bay. So staff is recommending affirming the coterminous sphere with the inclusion of the Gualala Point Regional Park, which is consistent with the 2016 sphere, finding that they have adequate wastewater services for their current service area, and that no other outside agency areas are identified for service within the planning horizon. So as a reminder, the Commission held a public workshop on June 3rd, and revisions from that workshop are identified on page 112 of your agenda packet. The MSR determinations are on page 166, and the sphere determinations are on page 175 of the packet. The public hearing notice was published on June 7th within the 21-day public hearing period. No comments have been received to date. A notice of exemption has been included in your packet for consideration. That's on page 2013. I do want to acknowledge that the district's general manager, Chris Tryon, has been very responsive and helpful in putting this study together. So we do have 2 corrections. We are recommending that a notice of exemption be applied for this study. Again, this revises the resolution number to be the current fiscal year, so 2024-2502. And also the Exhibit A, figure, should be figure 1-2 in your agenda packet, on page 127. That would be affirming the 2016 sphere, and then including the areas of interest that are identified on figure 4-1, page 179. And I am happy to answer questions.
Thank you. We'll start with Commissioner Ward and then Commissioner Roden.
Thank you. Take all my comments from the last one and put it in this one. Because they too are not in good financial position. I mean, you can't operate with grants every year. So they need to stabilize, and I know it's in our determinations to stabilize rates for the future. So I think consolidation will be a big help for that. Also, the last thing is I'd rather see discharge on golf courses than in the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Roden.
Why is Gualala Regional Point, you know, the park out there, that big spit, why does that need to be included in the districts? It's just undeveloped, protected area. Just curious about that.
When the wastewater treatment facility was being constructed, there was an agreement with Sonoma County, and I believe that was through their permitting process with the State Water Board, that service be provided to that part. So they have actually received service, treatment services, collection and treatment services from the Gualala CSD since wastewater treatment facility went online in 1990.
But what's out there that needs services?
The park facilities and campground facilities, restrooms.
But there are restrooms out there? I just wasn't aware.
And they truck some of it, so I'm not, I don't know exactly which part has a collection line extended to it, but they do treat all the.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't have any additional pens from commissioners, and we have no public comment in the room. If there's anybody online that wishes to make public comment, now would be the time to do it. You can press *6 or 9 or use the Zoom raise hand feature. I should know that by now. Seeing no hands go up, are there any other commissioner questions or comments, or do I have a motion from somebody?
I'll make the Gonzalez makes the motion for staff recommendations.
Yeah. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you, and I did want to just note that the public hearing is closed. And roll call, please.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Roden,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Christian,
Yes.
and Chair Mulhern.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Yeah, Commissioner Ward, you had a comment?
Will there be some updates on these things in the future? I mean, obviously, we're going to do this in 5 years from now. We're going to do it whenever the opportunity comes up for both of these, you know, that we've done today. Is there any way we could have a follow-up to see how they're doing or an update? Are they actually doing what we actually want them to do? This is the kind of stuff that sometimes just gets shoved underneath the covers again, and I'd like to think that we're staying on top of these people to do what they're supposed to do and making sure that the rates are going up and they are becoming more healthier, because it is sort of our responsibility to make sure that there's good services being provided out there at good rates. So just hate to bring this up 5 years from now and say we're in the same position.
Well, I think, so in our work program for this fiscal year, our new fiscal year, we do have development of a continuity plan, which is essentially a tickler report for staff and the commissioners to track these follow-up items. So,
Good. Thank you.
I have Commissioner Gonzalez and then Commissioner Christian.
As we're short, you did say that we were also updating the resolution numbers on this one too, right?
correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Christian?
Being new to this, relatively.
We can go ahead and let Marcia or EO Henman answer that, whomever prefers.
Sure, I guess I will respond. We don't have any enforcement capabilities. So our goal is to bring to light any issues and then encourage the district to respond, and we can certainly follow up with them. If that district were to bring forward an application, one of our review processes is looking through the MSR that was the last MSR that was prepared and identify issues that would very likely affect recommendations on their application. And Council Birch might have more to add.
Sorry about that little delay. I couldn't get my camera on. And Uma is correct. We don't have any enforcement authority, but through the MSR process, we can identify there's kind of a narrow set of circumstances where a LAFCO can initiate a consolidation or can, sometimes partner with a county or a state agency to bring, if there are some kind of violations going on, to kind of bring a district into compliance. It's really more of a process of gathering information, revealing that information, and then working with the district, hopefully in a cooperative way, to get them into compliance with, all of the things that they should be doing.
Did I hear you correctly saying that we could enforce a
That we could enforce what?
consolidation?
There is a process for a LAFCO initiated consolidation. It is a very narrow set of circumstances that would allow the LAFCO to initiate that process.
Thank you. Okay, we are moving on to item number 6, workshops. We have none today. And then matters for discussion and possible action. This is just an update. Item number 7A, master tax share agreement. The master tax share agreement between the County of Mendocino and the cities was heard by the Board of Supervisors on June 5th and was approved, and by the Ukiah City Council, I believe, on June 19th, and was also approved. It'll go before the Fort Bragg City Council July 7th, and then later in the month of July to the Point Arena Council. And I would just say that I was on that ad hoc with Supervisor Girardi, and the conversation in front of the board was a little bit challenging because it was 3 years of being on an ad hoc and having a lot of conversations that got us to the point where we were able to present a master tax sharing agreement. So I'm glad that Ukiah was able to approve it, and I believe Willits also approved it.
Willis approved it on the 26th.
Okay, so Willits also approved it on the 26th, and we'll, Fort Bragg and Point Arena will hear it next. Commissioner Ward.
Yeah, thank you, and job well done. Finally, thank you. But it means a lot more work for us with all these applications coming in. So can you give me an example? I mean, I read the thing, it's pretty detailed. I don't know who wrote it, a bunch of attorneys, I'm sure. But what would it mean, like the Western Hills annexation coming up, or the city of Ukiah? What kind of dollar amounts are we talking about? It's it's what is it, 0.5% of this and that? I mean, and then there's TOT taxes, and how does that? How would we know what the taxes would be that going from the county to the city? Or that's all part of the? Will we be able to be privy to that information? Like, for instance, the Western Hill annexation.
EO Hinman can take that if you'd like it. It's my understanding that's not included in this particular agreement, but I think that there's 3 focal points for the master tax sharing agreement. One is the sales tax, which is given a percentage breakdown over 15 years in order for the county and whichever city to have time to adjust their services based on that change in sales tax. The TOT is a 5-year transition, and then I'm blanking on the third one.
Share of the ad valorem.
Yeah, the property tax, so, that share is also adjusted. So I think that the most important thing about the master tax sharing agreement is that there weren't any dollar amounts exchanged at this point, and so when an annexation does come before LAFCO, it'll have to demonstrate both the high sales tax areas and then the amount of properties that are going to be called the balance areas that are going to come through the annexation process. So that will all be determined when an annexation comes forward. And the balance areas that were specifically described in the master tax sharing agreements are the ones in Ukiah and Fort Bragg. And did you want to add anything?
I think as far as the logistics of what the commission will see regarding the tax share agreement is that the calculation will be performed based on the master tax share agreement's set of parameters. The auditor will perform that calculation and then provide those real numbers to the commission as part of the application.
So we'll be seeing the information then. But what if the city of Ukiah says, no, that's not enough money, even through the master tax, we're not going to go forward because it doesn't give us enough funds? I mean, that could happen, correct?
I think there are provisions in the master tax share agreement for that additional negotiation to occur.
Okay. The other thing, this doesn't apply to districts. So like the Anderson Valley one, they're trying to annex that. Who determines that tax? And is that going to be is that another 3-year wait?
That is, goes through the normal process with the assessor's office, the auditor's office, and the CEO. We are still working through that process. I believe the ad hoc committee is working with Anderson Valley CSD, the auditor, and the CEO's office on that particular tax share. But those special district ones will continue to move forward as they have.
They're not moving forward, though. They're not moving forward. That's my point. So, yeah, we've got the cities now with agreement, but, the Anderson Valley is going on 2-3 years. So anyway, just frustrated with, but I appreciate you getting this through, but we need to continue.
Yeah, and I would just say that, and the agreements do take time, and then also there have been some pauses. And so, especially the Anderson Valley one, there was an initial conversation years ago, and then those conversations have been reinvigorated with the ad hoc from the board of myself and Supervisor Jurdy and an ad hoc from Anderson Valley. So we are trying to work through that process, but any negotiation or agreement does take time, and hopefully we'll be able to bring something soon, because Anderson Valley in particular, is on a limited time in order to get any kind of agreement to LAFCO to then go to the state before the BOA changes the tax rates. So we are working diligently on that and hope to have something coming forward. Commissioner Christian and Commissioner Gonzalez?
I was just going to comment that hasn't really gone 3 years. There was an old application, new application.
I think it's about a year now.
So, negotiating.
I think Elk's going on 2 years.
Elk has been.
There's some other ones too, so it just seems like we don't move fast enough. But that's government.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yeah, I initially thought it covered it, and Ron, so I'm disappointed, but I'm happy that your ad hoc is still in place, correct?
That is correct, and we're working with
And in the
Anderson
case
Valley
of
on that.
Anderson Valley, it's more than just the county, it's another district that's involved, correct?
The Anderson Valley Community Services District, and in particular, we're talking about the fire service.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Fantastic. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on this item? We have no one in the room, and we have no hands raised online. I just want to make sure we're following our processes. Item 7B, report from University of Berkeley on LAFCO and water system consolidations.
Thank you. So this is an informational item that we're bringing forward just for the commission's information and opportunity to discuss. So last year, UC Berkeley undertook a study called LAFCO and water system consolidation, which was released earlier this year. The study looks at the disconnect between the state and LAFCOs regarding the consolidation of water systems with the intent to reverse that water system fragmentation. The nexus for the study relates to the state's focus on the human right to water, and the study finds and focuses on the communication deficit between the state and local regulators, such as the State Water Resources Control Board and the California Public Utilities Commission, and also including LAFCOs. There is increasing interest from the state and local regulators in consolidations and the merging of water systems and services to implement those goals for the human right to water. The report lists a number of ways to create efficiencies in water services, including full consolidations under LAFCO, mergers and annexations also through LAFCO. They also discuss functional consolidations in which there are shared resources such as management and staffing. And of course, we have a number of local examples of this type in the Ukiah Valley with the Willow, Millview, Calpella, and Redwood Valley County Water Districts sharing staff and resources. And on the coast with the two districts that we just looked at today, the Mendocino County Waterworks District 2 and Gualala CSD, both share staffing and office and meeting space. The study notes that LAFCO's evaluation of municipal services through MSRs plays a very important role in the evaluation of water systems and consolidation options. For purposes of consolidation, the approach to the studies is also very important. While LAFCO focuses on the determinations that are required under the Cortez-Knox-Hertzberg Act, the state focuses on the human right to water through compliance with the Safe Drinking Water Act. Because LAFCO does not have jurisdiction over private and investor-owned service providers, there is some ambiguity about LAFCO's role in addressing fragmentation of water service providers and consolidations. The study increases communication and coordination between LAFCO, the CPUC, or the California Public Utilities Commission, and state drinking water regulators involving the sustainability and governance of local water systems. Some of the recommendations include connecting data and analysis in our MSRs with the annual drinking water needs assessment that is performed by the State Regional Water Quality Control Board. It recommends early coordinations between the state regulators and LAFCOs, and also standardizing the assessment of consolidation feasibility as part of the MSR process. And then, of course, making those recommendations for consolidation is important. They do recommend that LAFCOs prepare robust and regular MSRs for drinking water service providers. So the study is included in your agenda packet on page 251. Again, this item is informational and no action is requested. The commission is invited to discuss and provide feedback to staff.
Commissioner Roden, Gonzalez, and Ward?
Well, I haven't read the report, but in consolidation in the Ukiah Valley is being funded through a state program called SAFER, and I searched, oh wait, there it is, never mind. So it talks about SAFER in the, I just did, and now I just noticed it's here.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yeah, I noticed, if under, I guess it's page 17 of the study, or online, it's 267 packet, that it listed all the different LAFCOs, listed number of staff, and then offers for waivers and approximate range for consolidation-related fees. And it said that we did not respond to the survey. I was just curious, was that an us thing, a them thing? Just curious.
They did do some outreach. There was a lot of confusion about whether it was a scam at first among the LAFCOs. We did not participate in the survey. Most of the survey participants were the larger LAFCOs, mostly in Southern California.
I noticed a lot of LAFCOs didn't respond, so I wasn't sure if this is a last minute thing or not, so, but it sounds like you all thought it was a scam, so that
There
can
was some
under-
confusion at first, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Ward?
Yeah, thank you. I did read the report. I would take this report and give it to the public. It really goes through and deals with what LAFCO's purposes are and whatnot. A lot of people ask me, what is LAFCO? I'm going to just give them this report. I think it's well done. So it talks about water, but this could be applied to wastewater too, correct?
Well, this is
What's the
both-
difference? What would be the difference?
Well, the state, number of years ago, passed legislation regarding the human right to water and made that a primary focus. So this study is really in response to that, trying to determine how to promote efficiencies in the drinking water service provision. Keeping, with knowing that there's the fragmentation, and particularly in the disadvantaged areas, is high, and it creates unreliable service. So the study addresses that particularly.
Well, we have a right to use the bathroom too, so. Anyway, one of the things in here on page 265, it says allow LAFCOs to initiate annexations, which I thought is interesting. We can initiate dissolutions, but not annexations, and I think these are some of the things that they're trying to get LAFCOs to get involved in to have a little more power. So I think we need to really keep an eye on that in the future. But thank you for that information. I'm glad it was in the packet. I learned a lot.
So we can do divorces, but not marriages.
Yes, right.
Oh, Commissioner Christian?
Is there any regular?
There's very little communications. We do receive notices of failing or flagged systems often. When we first started this work program last year, studying the water service providers on the coast, we did reach out to the State Water Board, and we had a couple of meetings with them, which was very informative, and we did really open that avenue of communication with them so that we could get advance notice. That was our intent, was to get advance notice of systems that were struggling, because the State Water Board does have the authority to consolidate systems, and they have that authority over private utility water service providers as well as special districts. And we wanted to really be a step towards that so that we were aware of what water service providers around our districts were those ones that were struggling. So we have started that conversation. I think that we need to continue down that line.
Don't get the same. Us.
They have not been to date.
Of course,
They could. I think they typically force those consolidations with like providers. So Gualala CSD doesn't actually have water services at this time. They don't provide water services. But that is, they could do that, yes.
as they could with water.
Thank you. Okay, we have no members of the public in the room and no hands raised on Zoom, so let's go ahead and move on to item 7C. new website requirements and updated terms from Streamline. Executive Officer Henry.
Thank you, Chair Moran. In June, the Department of Justice and the state enacted a slew of new accessibility requirements for state and local agency websites. So this item is a informational to let the commission know that Streamline's working towards coming into compliance with those new requirements. Streamline is our website host. They provide hosting services for local agencies specializing in meeting all of the state and federal transparency and accessibility requirements. So a summary of those new requirements is on page 277 of your packet. Streamline has spent a huge amount of time preparing for implementation of these new laws, which actually go into effect today. In order to cover those costs associated with ensuring compliance with the new state laws, Streamline is increasing their rates. So our subscription for the last year has been $63 a month. Because we are an existing customer, they're providing a reduced rate of $115 a month. So that does go into effect August 1st. I'm happy to answer questions. And also Council Birch is available to answer questions on the requirements.
Okay, Commissioner Ward.
We're going backwards. We're trying to get districts to get a website. They can't afford it. Now they're increasing it even more. I mean, this ADA stuff is getting out of hand. Can we file an exemption, a hardship exemption ourselves and save money? I mean, this is ridiculous. Just don't get why they're going to this direction to have this all done the way it is. So, is there any other competition with any other companies out there that would be cheaper?
We could look into that. I'm not aware of anyone else that is providing this level of service, but I can certainly look into it.
All it means is there's all these districts are not gonna have a website because they won't be able to afford it.
Well, I'll just say that I appreciate your concerns about the financial implications, but accessibility is important. And so, I understand that smaller rural communities and especially our smaller districts are going to struggle with these changes. But at the same time, we want the public to be engaged in understanding what's happening. So I understand your concerns and also think that the accessibility is an importance.
How have we not had accessibility to people? I haven't heard anybody complain. I haven't been able to get a hold of LAFCO or talk to anyone. We don't even have people show up. Anyway.
Okay, Commissioner Roden.
Well, there might be ways that districts can cooperate and have, I don't know, but I think people will come together. Maybe CALAFCO will assist, or, I was thinking maybe small districts can come together and they could have, mendodistricts.org or something. And then within that website, you could access the webpage of any of the districts within the county. I mean, because I agree with the chair that accessibility is important, but it is unfortunate that all these small districts have to pay. So, but I think people have ingenuity and that they'll come up with solutions to achieve both.
Okay, we can move on to item 8A, work plan, current and future proposals. Hinman.
Thank you. All of our applications on file are still pending tax share agreements, although I expect that Western Hills application from the city of Ukiah will be moving forward soon. We're expecting a new submittal from them in mid-July. We're continuing to provide support to county staff and for the tax share negotiation process for Anderson Valley CSD and Elk CSD. The work plan is progressing. We did receive information from Casper South Water District just on Friday. So we're tentatively planning to schedule a workshop for our August meeting for that district. The remaining districts are Irish Beach Water District, Elk County Water District, and Westport County Water District. We do have information requests into all of them. and we'll be working with them in the coming months.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Ward has a question.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Okay, there's a JPA with the city of Ukiah, I think Millview and Redwood Valley Water District. Why is the Russian River Flood Control annexing then Redwood Valley? They can be in two different groups?
Ultimately, I think the big picture for that annexation would be for Russian River to continue to provide water service, but raw water service to Redwood Valley for irrigation purposes.
Can't they do that through the JPA?
The JPA is focused on drinking water. So eventually, through the JPA, the districts that are part of that JPA, I believe, are working towards consolidation for drinking water purposes. Russian River would be focused on the delivery of raw water for irrigation purposes.
Would that affect the consolidation of all these water districts, though?
It is not expected to, and we did speak with members of that JPA, representatives of the JPA who confirmed that they would support that annexation into Russian River.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to item 8B, correspondent.
None to report.
Thank you. And 8C, CALAFCO Business and Legislative Report. Call for nominations for CALAFCO Board of Directors and CALAFCO Conference Open Registration.
Yes, thank you. The board vacancies and nomination period ends September 15th. The Northern Region has 2 upcoming vacancies for city and public member. One of our commissioners were interested in being put forward. We would need to do that by September 15th. The details, I think, are on page 292 of your agenda packet. The CALAFCO conference is going to be in Yosemite this year, October 16th to 18th. Registration opens today. We have budget for up to 5 attendees. So far, 2 commissioners have expressed interest in attending. So the sooner the better, because this one is going to fill up very quickly, being a desirable place like Yosemite. I can either do the registration process and the hotel reservations for you, or you can do them individually, but either way, please do let me know so that we can move this. So far, we have Commissioner Horsley and Gonzalez have expressed interest. Commissioner Roden?
Commissioner Ward.
SB 1209, can you get a little more detail on that one? It's indemnification.
Sure, maybe Council Birch could weigh in on this one. I believe she has more detail than I do.
Sorry about that. I'm having a little trouble hearing.
It was regarding SB 1209. And do you have any updates on that, or should we have an update at our next meeting?
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that? We'll do a little bit more thorough update at the next meeting.
That one seems interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And for item 8D, did you have any additional reports to add, Executive Officer Hinman?
Sure, I have a few. Just letting folks know that we do have a vacancy for the special district seat vacated by Commissioner Cole. We will be sending out that announcement of vacancy and the process for filling the 2025 to 2028 term later this week. We also still have a vacancy for our alternate public member. The most recent deadline for the applications expired today, so we'll be extending that an additional 60 days. And we'll re-announce it to our email distribution list and post it on the website. I also wanted to, if Jen Crump could come on for just a moment, I wanted to introduce our new analyst. She has joined Hinman and Associates Consulting from, most recently from San Diego County Planning Department, and she will be supporting our efforts with applications and studies. She's also going to be helping with filling in some of the clerk duties in the meantime. So.
Nice to meet you, Jen.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
And I don't have anything else for the executive officer report unless there's questions.
I'm not seeing any. Are there any report outs from the committees? Okay, seeing none. And any reports from commissioners? Okay, seeing none. With that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody stay cool.
Okay.